when I started, you can get focused on the, the rubbish and the problems with, antisocial behaviour and so on. But it's never where we've started from. It's always been, what does the community need?
Yeah, what's strong, not what's wrong.
Yeah.
That's a key one.
This is the Paganhill Community Group washing line, and this is really to introduce you to our area.
So, Jackie, here's your house. And a peg for you.
And a peg.
I remember when I first started and there was nothing going on. It was bingo, that's why I started playing bingo every other week. And it was the coffee morning, the sheltered housing, but it was nothing else really. And now we've got the cafe every week, we've got the one-off events that we've been doing, and people are getting to know their neighbours and talking to each other, building relationships. Oh, do you remember this, Jackie?
Yes, this is our very first kind of get-together. We met in our little tin church down by the Maypole Hall, and we were discussing how, what we can do to sort of get people together, and that was our very first event, which we held outside, right in the centre where there's a green area, and that was our summer fair.
We had the street party. It felt good to actually do something that people enjoyed. And I thought, I can't let that go.
It was a lovely day, wasn't it?
Yes, and after the party we thought, is this it? Do we want to do anything else? And we decided, no, actually we want to become officially Paganhill Community Group with a kind of slogan, by the community, for the community. So the party was in June, and in October we got a slot in our local community hall, the Maypole Hall. And on a Friday afternoon from 12 to 5, I guess it was the time, we opened it up, we served food. We managed to connect with Tesco and Fairshare so we can get their leftover food. And what's really nice about the cafe, if I can get that up, is that everyone, no matter background, comes together.
I just enjoy the buzz of everybody enjoying themselves and being up here. And earlier on, a couple of the ladies were saying, oh, it's much better to come up here than sit at home, which is true. Yeah, and I enjoy being able to help people as well.
It's a lovely place to be on a Friday. I couldn't cope without it, actually. Just could not cope without this place. Because it's just a lifeline.
So 2018, we had, as a committee, had started to look at what kind of form do we want to be, and in the end we chose to be a CIC. So the objectives of the company are to carry on activities which benefit the community, and in particular and without limitation to improve and develop community cohesion across the Paganhill area and reduce the impact of poverty, isolation and loneliness. And we do this by building on an already existing embedded culture of conversation, connection and relationship building with the local people in our area. I think that kind of says it all really, doesn't it? We have a very good PCSO, Gary Lynch, who really works with the community here. And drugs are a concern here, as they are in many places, but we didn't want to kind of sweep it under the carpet. Part of that is that anybody is welcome down the cafe, and the other part of that is to kind of really say that, we all live here, this is our area, we need to get along together, and we need to try and make sure that people feel safe.
I am not seeing if you like, the volumes of instant reports coming in. And this has been noticed for a long time now. And you can see where all the graft that everybody has done collectively has made a difference. I've tried to not be seen to be the police taking over or leading. It's very much a collective. Gary's there in the background, 110% behind all this good stuff that's happening. I've still got work to do and I want to do that work, or with my colleagues or however it happens. But that's alongside all the good that all of us as a collective are doing.
It's hard when it's community-led, you know, how does that work? Where do you find those kind of people? How do you look after each other when most people are volunteers? Where are the boundaries in that? When is it not okay to contact people?
Brings up a lot of questions. It's like you, as a community, you actually, you want to have those skills within the community, ideally, is that, you know, people are looking after each other. And I think that does go on, for sure. But it's then how do we work with the outside agencies, because we, you know, often don't want outside agencies coming in and saying, but you should be doing it this way. That's, you know, because this is community. And so, you know, we have bumped up against being taken seriously as a group of people. Basically, it's not about, there is a flow to it as well. It's not about pushing things, not about saying, we want, you know, we're going to have. It's about, is this going to work? You know, are other people going to join in with this? Does it seem like something that people can get on board with? This is a much kind of freer way of working. This is, ooh, what's possible kind of thing, which is much more exciting.
I love dreaming and helping people to imagine things, to think about what can things be like. Let's not look at the negative side, but look at the positive side. What is good? What could be? What if this works? You know, what if we did something?
Once people see the energy in something and see, you know, what could be possible, they want to be part of it. A lot of people were suddenly off work. A lot of people that were off work were wanting something to do and were very keen to help. So suddenly there was a lot of volunteers. Lockdown, you know, especially for older people and ill people, certainly meant that suddenly they couldn't get their prescriptions and their shopping. So suddenly there was a lot of sort of organising to do, and the best way that we felt getting out information was to do leaflet drops.
So right at the beginning, I sort of got involved in setting up the local WhatsApp group to support neighbours nearby, and I got involved in doing some of the leaflet drops to give information out to the community about what support was available. So that's my initial involvement, and then as time went on, I supported a couple of neighbours in getting their shopping.
On the 1st of April this year, I was furloughed, so I started to support a young person who was shielding and also vulnerable. I gained her confidence enough that she would talk to me through her locked front door, and then as she gained more confidence, I would drop her supermarket bags off by her front door and then move away to a very safe distance, and she would open the door and talk to me. And I would like to think that since then we've become quite good friends, actually. Yeah.
So during lockdown I did prescription runs, some shopping, just being there for each other as well, you know, and just chatting and saying hi, you know, it goes a long way.
Basically from the start of lockdown it was very much a question of educating and encouraging the local community to follow the guidance, and very much a question of keeping an eye on the more vulnerable, obviously within the Paganhill area. I did have concerns about well-being and somehow finding routes where those folks that they done really well, but yeah, they were in their way suffering. And I have to say a huge thank you to Emily at the Stroud Town Council, because she was a very encouraging and great source of support.
Because we were established, we had that resilience enough to be, and enough systems in place. You know, we already had a website, we already had a committee that were supporting, we already had a bank account, which meant we could apply for grants. And I think those things which might appear small when you're suddenly trying to get going on the ground, not having a bank account, where do the grants go? I think for many, and it didn't occur to me initially, but many were actually thinking that we were all sort of paid workers. And there's not necessarily time in a phone conversation where somebody is more interested in how they get what they need to say to them, look, this service is all voluntary. We made the decision to say members because it felt more kind of encompassing. The distinction became important because we are still just community members helping community members. And yes, I'm happy for people to come to us for information and so on, but we're not the professionals. We can't be and shouldn't be because we're residents. But it's interesting how many people would try and make you that, you know. There was quite a lot of supermarkets that were wanting to find a place for their end of line staff. So somebody came back with the bus shelter idea. The veteran group in the area painted it, and we've just got permission to put the mural up. So they're going to put a big mural up on the side of it as well. They've already cleaned it all up, cleaned the area up, got all the rubbish out and the weeds, and painted all the railings, hammerited all of the railings, which is looking...
I mean, it's been dilapidated for a while, so it was kind of nice to come out here and help the community, and the veterans have helped to do the bus stop and turn it into what it is now. The Paganhill shop is a fantastic idea, and when I heard about it, it was something that I would like to have got involved in, you know, and to help my community. You know, you can't moan about the area if you don't do something about it to try and change it. And hopefully now, if this project highlights to other people in other communities and it has a knock-on effect, you know, then that's a great thing, you know, to help others in this world, especially in the current climate we're in as well, you know.
So that was an idea that I had based on things, some similar bus stops that I'd seen nearby. We're now looking at putting in place a community fridge and freezer in the Octagon, which will be supplying food to the community, working with the long table to get frozen meals into that freezer and distributing them locally.
So part of the produce that we've grown has been taken down to the bus stop shop. We've managed to grow potatoes, beetroot, we've got a lot of pumpkins, tomatoes, various other things, but we're also starting to develop it more for the wildlife. So we built a pond around which there'll be a herb garden. We've got the composting set up. And now we need to regroup and say, okay, what's the next phase? It's a great escape from the routine of lockdown. And yeah, you can go for walks, but having somewhere outside where you can spend a reasonable amount of time and doing something meaningful towards the future.
It's something we can build on. You know, it started people talking, and you see that people actually do want to take pride in their area. They do want that kind of community. And so if there's any threat of it going, it's suddenly, you know, a massive thing. People are not to be deterred, you know, they will find a way. but we're all having to get used to kind of adapting.
I always, at the heart of everything, I think, is just by calling something a community doesn't make it a community. It's quite hard work, and it's constant, and you have to genuinely involve people who want to get involved long term, really, and that can be a bit overwhelming for people.
I got to know my community because I live on the edge of it, and my natural sort of progression is always into town, whereas I didn't really know anyone over there. So I now know a lovely bunch of people who are breathtakingly stunning at what they do, and they just quietly do it. What they do for the community is astounding.
I think there's really a loss of community spirit or a loss of community feeling in society at the moment, so it's really great to be involved in sort of re-establishing that a little bit, and getting to meet some neighbours a bit more. I found that personally I'm taking a bit more time when I'm out and about to stop and speak to neighbours, because I'm more aware that they might be feeling isolated. So I've sort of noticed that on quite a personal level as well, and I've really started to value those little tiny interactions a lot more than I might have done beforehand.
We've got a lovely community. I hope I live here until forever, because I just think it's excellent.